Hi, gang. I think I have tried to make this video, like without hyperbole, I think I've been trying to make this video 20 or 30 times. Because frankly, it's not an easy subject. It's not something that's easy to talk about. And because it was so hard for me to talk about this subject, I kind of figured that, like, at this point, it's not really, a big secret that one of my biggest dreams is to have a panel at a convention. And what I wanted to do at that panel was to talk about bullying. I wanted to talk about how, how to overcome it and stuff like that. And it's not like I've given up on that ever becoming a thing, but something happened recently that kind of made me just, that kind of sent me over the edge. And so that's why I'm making this video right now. This is going to be a little long, but I'll try to be brief. I grew up in a city called Aalborg. It's south from where I am currently living. Aalborg is a special place because it's a really nice place. It's kind of like a big city without really being a big city. It's kind of like in the middle. And I grew up there, and for all intents and purposes, the place was really nice. And I grew up there with my mom and my dad, and I was happy as can be. Despite the area was a little on the rough side. I remember how we would get warnings because there were drug dealers out in the bicycle garage, like where you put your bikes. There would be drug dealers giving out ecstasy, like really hard drugs, and there were warnings about knives, like people who took knives with them to school. And if you're watching this in America or anything, maybe it's not a big thing for you, but in a small little place like Denmark, it's kind of a big deal. And I was happy as can be back then. Like I said, I lived with my mom and my dad and my sister, and everything was going great. Then one day, my parents got divorced. My dad found a new girlfriend in Sweden, and they moved together over there. So that kind of left me living with my mom and my sister. And my mom got a new boyfriend, a really cool guy. Like I don't know how many people she talked with, like, because they met over chat. I don't know how many people my mom met before that, but for all intents and purposes, she hit like the jackpot in the first go. This guy was super cool. For in all intents and purposes, we're going to call him N. N was a super cool guy. I really like him, and still do. Like, I got tons of respect for the guy. He's super clever. He's like a fucking walking dictionary. But maybe it was just the way that I had been brought up. I kind of think that I was a little spoiled as a kid, and N had a way of saying things very direct. And he actually had, he expected something from me. And if I didn't do that, he would get agitated. Like, he would get disappointed, and he would kind of, which is understandable. Like if you're told to do the dishes and you don't do the dishes because you have to play World of Warcraft or dumb shit like that, well, yeah, he has all the right in the world to get pissed at you. But at that time, it was, it was kind of a change of pace, so I will admit I was a little afraid of him because, he had a temper. I can't deny that. He had a temper. Still a super cool guy and, never hit anyone or anything, but he would yell and he would, he would be loud. And it took some getting used to. but I saw that my mom was very happy about this guy, and so like the thing for me was just don't get in the way and support my mom in any way I could, because really like the divorce between my mom and dad was really rough on her. So I just tried to do what I could do to not get in the way, because I didn't know how I could help her. So instead, I just made sure that at least I wouldn't be a bother to her. That extended all the way to the point where my mom and Anne decided to move together, and they moved together in where I live now, Frederikshavn, which is like one of the most northern parts of Denmark. It was kind of a long way away from Aalborg, where I used to live, and it was something that didn't really sit right with me, because I love my friends, and just having to move like this, I was 10 years old or something like that at the time. Like all I really have at that point was my friends, and then suddenly I had to lose all of them. Like sure, like my parents kept saying that you can still talk with them, and MSN was kind of becoming a thing back then, MSN Messenger. I don't know if any of you remember that. Kind of puts a timestamp on how old I am. Yeah, so I could talk with them there, but it was really limited how much internet we had back then, because it wasn't like now where it was super cheap to get internet, and we had one computer for the kids. Like it was me, my sister, and then N's 3 kids. So we were like 5 kids who had to share one computer. It wasn't easy to get online and talk with my friends. And I'm sad to say that me and most of my friends, my classmates, we grew apart because I couldn't keep the contact. I still have 1 or 2 people I talk with from back then, but other than that, no, we grew apart. And basically, like I was all alone really, and my dad was in Sweden, so I couldn't really call him either, because back then it was super expensive to call outside of your own country. So it was kind of limited how much I could talk with him, and so I only really just had my dad and my siblings, but at that point, like my mom and my siblings, but at that point, as a teenage kid, you don't want to talk with your siblings, because your siblings also think you're a fucking retard when you're like a teenage boy. And for all intents and purposes, you are. But anyway, and my mom, well, like I said, I just didn't want to get in the way. So to me, the most important thing was that my mom was happy. And I know, like, this is going to come across like sounding like painting me in a way too bright a light. But that was really, I swear to God, that was really all I had in mind. I just wanted to make sure that my mom was happy. So I didn't want to bring anything up to her. And that kind of, goes over to the fact that I had to start on a different school. I couldn't drive from where I lived to where I used to live. That was way too far. So I had to start a new school. And at the time that I moved, we will get to that. For all intents and purposes, like everything started out fine enough. There was some issues, like really that I quickly grew aware to, because, like I said, it wasn't the least rough neighborhood that I came from. It was actually so bad that my math and biology teacher, who was the same person, ended up in the psychiatry ward because she had suffered severe schizophrenia, I think it was. So we never learned a lot of biology and math. I have to this day never learned how to divide in my head or on paper. And all I really had, like, we would ever so often we would get sheets, and we would and we would just use a calculator and answer, and then like the teacher would look at them and like, yeah, that's fine, and then that was it. But with my new class, they kind of did things differently. Instead of just getting the result, they wanted to find out how you got to the result. They wanted to see, okay, what did you do to get the answer? And that was something that was so foreign to me. And I just didn't, I just didn't know how to do that. And like the math teacher we had was super good, but he was really, really strict. Like he would, yelling, screaming, and he could teach you fucking everything, but he was rough, and you couldn't help but be a small bit intimidated by him. But like I said, he was a really good math teacher. And like, just basically, I was kind of a stupid kid back then because there was a lot of things I didn't know. Because like, I will admit I'm not like the best kid in school. I didn't necessarily listen every time. I would just putz around, daydream, draw silly things, shit like that. Like, fucking, yeah. I come up with that class and it's like. They're talking about how if you cut up what the fuck is it called? If you cut yourself with something razor sharp, then nothing happens because like the blood clogs and prevents the blood, shit like that. Like if you cut a razor over your wrist, it doesn't it just immediately clogs up, and they was on a whole different level than what I was. And it was so jarring. It was so. It took some getting used to, and it wasn't easy because I was a shy, awkward teenage boy. It was very hard to talk with the other people in the class, and for the most part, I just sat for myself and did my thing. At the time where I moved, trust me, I'm I'm getting somewhere with this. It's like the math thing where there is the answer, but you have to find out what the answer is. So I'm going to tell everything. When we moved, a Danish rapper called Neon made a song which was dedicated to the city I came from. It was called Double A because Aalborg can be spelled with 2 A's as well. And basically, it was just a song about how they would be drinking, how they would be fighting, taking drugs, shit like rap music. And when that came out, people started thinking that people from that place were like that. And I did not know that this was an idea that people had. And maybe I should have put the pieces together, and maybe I did at some point, I can't remember, but for all intents and purposes, it was too late. It's hard to say this because I don't want this to be me, oh, I'm so innocent, look what happened to me, but so I'm kind of trying to find a way to say this without glorifying myself. Just know that this is not to glorify me, because I'll be happy to say that what I'm going to say is like the least applicable thing now. But at that time, I was probably the most mature person in the class. And the reason why I'm saying that is because me and growing up where I grew up from, and this is going to surprise some of you people, many people would have girlfriends and have had sex when I moved. And once again, let me remind you, I moved when I was 11 or 10 years old. I can't remember. But people prior to that would be having sex and have girlfriends and boyfriends and shit like that. So at the time, I had a girlfriend. Oh, well, I say girlfriend, but it's like, it's in the loosest, interpretation of the word there is. Like, it's just someone that you like, and then you sneak in like a little peck. And but that was like the girlfriend I had, like P. Let's call her that. She was like super sweet, like a lovely girl. And holy crap, she's hot right now. But we we kind of became a thing before I moved, and it kind of like, I didn't know there was this split, because the class I came into still had this thing with cooties and ew boys and ew girls and everything like that. So I was kind of different. But yeah, they were still talking about cooties. They were still ew boys, ew girls, and so I was different, and I was different in a lot of different ways. But this was this and the song. Again, like if we look at a math problem, these were like two of the, like this was the X and this was the Y, I think. For something that you're going to find out soon. Because of this, they were kind of seeing me. I got a lot of attention from having a girlfriend. Because it was so strange to them, and they started. I don't recall when it actually happened, but they started becoming a little hostile with the people in the class, especially the girls. And I think it was just because I was so different, and for all intents and purposes I was, and I think like the boys who would like tease me were expecting something more. They were expecting me to throw off the handle with guns and knives and beat the shit out of someone because they had heard that song. And eventually it kind of escalated, and I started getting bullied. I getting bullied a lot, actually. And that's like the X and the Y equals bullying. I was bullied a lot. And I can't say that I didn't necessarily ask for it. Like, of course I didn't ask for it, but it was like I wasn't, the most innocent person. Like, I wouldn't take things sitting down, and I've never really done that. If people say shit to me, I'm quick to come with a rebuttal. I'm quick to answer back, and I've never been physically strong. So what I had was the gift of the mouth. I was always good at attacking you, or saying things that would affect you, like hurt you. And at this point, I had my back up against the wall, and all I had was the word of mouth, the power of speech. So I would attack, and I would attack everyone who teased me, who bullied me, who pushed me. And I would do, like, maybe go overboard, but I was scared. I was so afraid because I had no one. I had one friend in that entire school. And so it kind of just escalated. And it escalated to become a bigger and a bigger problem. And then one day, me and P, my girlfriend, we broke up. The distance was just too much, and somehow like, this was back in the day where Facebook wasn't a big thing back then, so we had like other things, and at this point we had something called Ato. the people from Denmark who are watching this will just, cringe, because Arthur was the most cringy stuff ever. But we had Arthur, and I think they found out through there that I had broken up with my girlfriend. And then, they would start to use that as ammo for attacking me. Not even your girlfriend wants you and shit like that. And well, we did break up, so maybe it was true. I don't know. And then where do we go from here? Because there's so much to talk about. Then they started taking, like, I won't say that necessarily everything about this was wrong, but some of it was, and most of it was. They would start to think that every olive branch, every nice thing I would say to the girls, especially, because like it had kind of turned out to be the boys were just being kind of dicks, but the girls were like super mean. They were out to attack me. They were out to say the worst possible shit about me. And I tried to I realized many times that if I kept being a defensive like this, if I kept saying the shit that I did, it wouldn't end well. So I tried multiple times to be nice to the girls. Like, oh, okay, yeah, we had our fight. Oh boy, how about, we settle our differences and we buddy, like try and be friends. And that kind of, because I was the guy who had girlfriends, and because I was the guy from the place with drugs and thugs and sex and all that stuff, they would take every compliment like an advance to them, like I was trying to flirt with them, and it would make me seem very desperate. And I will admit, like, again, I'm not trying to be the completely innocent person here. I did try and flirt with some of the girls, because some of them were cute enough. And at that point, I just needed someone. And safe to say, it didn't really work out. But then, time passed, and this went on for several years, actually. And then, as time progressed, I started having feelings for this girl called, let's call her A. And A was a very nice girl. She was super nice. Sitting here, like, I can't honestly remember her, like, ever bullying me. She was one of the only people in the class who didn't do that. She was nice and very, very kind. She was pretty too. And I got a crush on her. I will admit, I had a crush on her. And it kind of became known that I had this crush on her. So one day, we had this canteen. Normally in that kind of school, you don't have a big canteen like many of you guys are probably used to, but we have small little, a kiosk where you could buy fruit and bread, little pizza rolls. And I had volunteered to work there, because any time that I could spend outside of the classroom, away from the people in the class, was something I welcomed. And when and then one day where I finish being in the canteen, I come up to like my classroom and I see that there's this letter, this piece of paper on my desk. Now, I don't know why, but I just instantly recognized the letter. Like that's not like the piece of paper. I just instantly recognized that that's not supposed to be there. This is not my mess, because I was a messy child, like teenage boy. And I instantly just look at that thing and I go, that didn't used to be there. And I go over and I pick up the paper, and it's a love letter. Well, not a love letter. It's, you know how when you are a kid, like really really childish. You know, when you were a kid, you had like, "Hi, I like you. Do you like me? Do you want to become my girlfriend, boyfriend?" Yes, no, maybe. Tick boxes. And it was from A. And I saw this. I knew that my class, especially this girl who is very, very important to the story, who we will call B, and it's not for what you think it is. B was like the forerunner of this, and she would use everything that she could get her hands on to make fun of me. She had some kind of vendetta against me. And I probably deserved it. I don't know. I can't honestly recall. But I wanted to make goddamn sure that she didn't see this, because this was way too much ammo that I was willing to let her have. So I took the letter and I brought it with me out into the bathroom. And I opened it up, and sure enough, it's a love letter from A asking if I want to be her boyfriend. I was like, yes, no, maybe. And I had brought a pen. And of course I check it with the yes. And I'm ecstatic. Because not only can I get to be, this really, really lovely girl's boyfriend, but maybe this could be, the thing that could lead me out of the mess that I was in. Because I was in a rough spot. I was bullied every day, and it had been going on for years. I only had one friend in the entire class, in the entire school. And like I said, I couldn't talk with my mom, or my dad, or my siblings, or even my past friends. It was me against the world, really. So it was nice to finally have like this, like when I try to picture her, it's like, in the movies where you just picture her with like a white shining aura around her, like she was like the guardian angel. She was the one who was supposed to save me. And it's kind of silly, I know. And I take this letter and I put it in my pocket. And then like the biggest question of my life at that point was, how the heck do I give her this letter? and it was so, because like you're a teenage kid, like you're super nervous to approach this girl. So how the heck do I do that? But like the class after the one we were about to have was chemistry, and I knew for a fact that, because like these are long tables, there's 3 long tables, and you can sit on each side of the table, and there's this mid row where you have chairs here, and then there in the middle you have like suction for fumes and stuff like that. And I knew that this girl would be sitting on one side with like 3 of her friends, and I would be sitting on the other side with that one friend that I had. And so I was like, I'm going to give it to her there. And so chemistry comes by, and I use the entire class to work up the guts to give her this reply. And I swear, like, I'm not even exaggerating. It is almost like the end of the class before I finally, balls up, and I throw the letter back to her. Good throw. I remember she received it. And then it's, being a teenage boy is about like directing your attention to everything else. because like, oh, I have to look cool. I'm about to, to score this girl. So I'm like, yeah, I have to look cool, and you know, just focusing there, and then I get a thing at the side of my head, and I don't know why I don't immediately direct my attention to where it could have come from. But I direct my attention to what it was. And what it was the letter. And I immediately spot that something is wrong. Because on the letter it says something. There's been sprawled something over it in big, crude, thick black marker. And I unfold the letter. And I remember exactly what it said. Over the love letter had been written, "Ha ha, Lasse. Do you really think A wants to be together with a loser like you? Nobody likes you. Fuck back to Aalborg. We don't want you here." And I look at the letter, and I look at the letter again. And I keep staring at it. My brain simply can't comprehend what it's reading right now. And I finally take the letter down, and I look over to A and the other girls. And sure enough, A is sitting with B. And they're all laughing. They are all laughing. The letter was a trap. And then I hear the most horrifying sound I can remember. More laughter. I hear more laughter over there. And it's the rest of the class. Everyone but that one friend are laughing at me. They were all in this. They all knew exactly what was going on. And they're all laughing. Even my chemistry teacher was laughing. But to his defense, I think he probably just figured I had said something dumb or farted or something. But he was laughing as well. After that, I don't recall how I got home. I just remember my bike had a flat tire, and it was raining and the wind was blowing. Like, it was, you couldn't have asked for better weather for that kind of situation. And that day, I decided to kill myself. On that day, I decided to commit suicide. I didn't really, need to think that much of it. I grabbed one of my stepdad's razors, and I, spent most of the day just trying to get the plastic cover off. It was one of these. Trying to get the plastic cover off, which was a hassle, but I ended up getting it. And that evening, I was super, calm about the entire thing. I knew exactly what I was going to do, and I had no quarrels with it. Didn't even, leave a note or anything. I just decided, I'm going to hit the shower, and I'm not going to come back up. And, I got into the shower, and I started the shower, and I slit my wrist. And then I just waited to die. But like I said, I was a stupid kid. And I had a chemistry teacher who ended up in a psychiatry ward. A biology teacher, I mean. And she didn't teach me some of the stuff that I knew that this class knew. Which is stuff such as when you cut yourself with a razor, it leaves such a small little cut that the blood immediately clogs it up if you cut across your wrist. But I'd just seen it in movies, so I figured it would work, but that's not how it works. And I didn't die. And I just, I sat there waiting. I wasn't even crying. That was the worst part about it. I knew exactly what was going to happen. I thought. But nothing happened. At this time, I had sought out religion. I had become rather Christian because I needed someone in my corner. I needed someone to help me. And at that point, I thought that God had looked over me and given me a second chance, even if I didn't want it. So I got up, turned off the shower, and I looked myself in the mirror. And I think it's like, not to be theatrical or anything, but it felt like the first time that I had probably looked myself in the mirror for a very long time. And I realized something, and that was that if I had gone through with this, I was never going to win. I was never going to be happy again, if I could even be that. I was never going to hang out with my dad or watch dumb movies with my mom. I was never going to watch my sister grow up. There were so many things that I would have missed. But the one thing that kind of, stuck with me was that they would win. That class would win. They would have gotten what they wanted. They would have made me leave. Maybe a little more rough than what they had expected, but I would have left nonetheless. And I wasn't going to give them that satisfaction. If I'm allowed to be a little theatrical, I sometimes like to say that day Lasse died. And the guy who came out of that bathroom and got yelled at by his stepdad for using all the hot water, that was me. That was Riser. And I decided I was not going to let them win. And I wish I could tell you that I found a solution to the bullying. That I found like the one thing I could say that would make them stop bullying me. That would make them stop calling me names. That would make them stop alienating me. But no such word exists. And a lot of people think that it does. A lot of people think that you can just act a certain way or say certain things or tell a principal, tell a teacher, talk to your parents, shit like that. But kids are fucking monsters. I didn't find a way out of bullying, and I kept being bullied. But I realized something that day, and that is, they won't change. And I don't want to change, but I don't have to change. What I can do is evolve. I can grow. And that day I grew. That day I became the one I am today. I started killing them with kindness. I started realizing that the worst thing that could happen to them was me doing right. Was me doing exactly what I wanted to. It was me being happy. And I wanted them to know that. So I started acting as kind as I could. I was smiling, I was joking, I was having fun. It may have been a facade that I was putting up for like a full fucking year, but I acted happy. I made jokes, I got friends, I started hanging out with people, all so they could know that they didn't beat me. And it worked. That's the worst part, it worked. Me simply being happy was the worst thing that could ever have happened to those bullies. And it's the best thing that has happened to me. I decided to be happy. There was only one way for me to go, and that was up, and I took it. Even if the worst possible outcome got taken away from me, I knew exactly where I was supposed to go. So I grew up, and I started acting like the one I was supposed to be. The one that was meant to spread joy. The one who was meant to prevent people from feeling the exact same things I'd gone through. And that's what I want to be. That's what I want to do. I want to help people. I said it in a very, very, very old video on this channel. That what I wanted to be was a hero. I'm still sticking with that. It may not be in a cape and underwear on top of my pants like an idiot, but it will be me with my dumb hat, my glasses, and my very, very profane-filled vocabulary. Just talking about a bunch of dumb stuff. But if me entertaining people on YouTube, if me doing a dumb let's play or dumb stream, me making a dumb joke, or me putting myself out there and acting like a girl with my shirt off or whatever the hell, if that means that I can help someone, every time I do that, it's a giant middle finger to those people. And I'm going to keep doing that. Now, the reason why I bring this up now, the reason why this is something I'm even talking about, is because I got a message some time ago. And I want to read that message up for you. If I can even find it. There it is. A few days ago, be the worst of the girls in the class to bully me wrote on Facebook that they were going to have a reunion and a class reunion, and of course I got an invite. I have never said no to an event that fast. And shortly after I had done this, This was in March, I can see. And after I had said no, I got this message. I'm going to try and translate it while I'm reading it, because of course it's in Danish. But, hey Lasse, I'm sorry to hear that you have said no. I've been told and can see that you had a rough time when we went to school. I don't know if I had anything to do with that. I don't hope so. But I would like to preemptively apologize for it. And here's like the thing where it's a lot of years ago, and we have all become adults. Parentheses, hopefully, and then, smiley. One quickly forgets what happened that many years ago, unless one has been through something really rough or really great. I really hope you will reevaluate your not showing up to the party. Sincerely, B. That was a kick in the teeth. And that's the reason why I'm making this video right now. They didn't care. They didn't care about what they did to me. That's how a bully works. They don't give a fuck. A lot of people tend to say that bullies are people who are feeling bad about themselves, trying to compensate for something. And it's a very cute thing to say. It's a very lovely way to say that there is something wrong with them, and so they're taking it out on you. Problem is that that's not the case. Bullies are doing it because they don't give a shit. They don't care about you. They couldn't care less about what you're going through. They won't even bat a fucking eye the day after you commit suicide. They don't give a shit. But the only thing that will affect them at all is that if something really, really bad happens and you decide to let them win and commit suicide or whatever the heck. They don't care. It's not something projecting inner trauma or something, because you can see here, they don't give a fuck. They didn't care at the least of what I was going through. They couldn't care less that I legit tried to kill myself. They don't care that today I'm still walking with bracelets on just because I know there's a scar here somewhere that no one can see, but I know it's there. They don't care that to this day I still doubt every time someone compliments me. And every time someone is doing something nice to me, I think they're going to stab me in the back. I every fucking day doubt that I'm worth shit. They don't care about any of that. So why am I making this video? Am I just trying to tell you my story? Well, yeah. I figured it was about time that someone, knew what I've been through. And I figured it was about time that I put my story out there in case someone else needed to know that you can be through the worst garbage in your life and still make it out okay. Sure, I still have some scars. Sure, I'm still damaged. But I'm way the fuck better off than they are right now. I've worked hard. But the way I see it, people are like springs. The more you push them down, the harder we will fly up. Because I always doubted myself. I always doubted the work I did was good enough. And so I would always go my work over once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, over and over again. I would look it over until it was perfect. That's the same reason why you always will read like the comments on some of my videos that, oh my god, I've never seen someone improve that much, which I'm so thankful for. You will see them because I watch my own videos and I'm like doubting that anyone would ever enjoy them. I'm doubting myself every freaking time I put out a video. But it's for my own benefit. I have grown because of this. And you should know that you will grow too. If you are ever thinking about doing the dumb shit I was trying to do, which is killing yourself, don't. First of all, you're letting them win. But also, you're not killing you don't want to just take your life. You want to take away that moment you're in. And I'm glad I was a dumb idiot kid and didn't try again. Because I got to see my dad again. And he even moved back to Denmark. I've gotten to see my mom so happy and so proud so many times. And I've seen my sister grow up. I've seen my sister become this amazing young woman. And I met you guys. Sorry. Because I didn't kill myself, I've gotten to make dumb videos on YouTube. And I've gotten over 4,000 subscribers. 4,000 people who are like watching my dumb stuff and complimenting me for it. I can't stress enough how happy I become every time I hear you guys complimenting the videos, saying that you enjoyed them. I almost cried the first time I got some fan art. I cried after the camera had been turned off when I got the package from David and Liz Lily. And I'm not easy to bring to tears. In fact, this may just be the first time I've cried in 2 years. So, just thank you. And I could never have experienced this if I had actually killed myself. So that's my story. That's how Riser was born. How Lasse died and how Riser was born. Bullies don't care whether or not you're doing bad. But they will hate when you're doing good. And it may not be through YouTube. It may not be through the work I currently have. But at some point, I will be standing at the top of something. And I will flip them the bird from so high up that they cannot avoid seeing it. I'm not going to pretend to be one of those just let it be or just ignore them. Because this is who I am. And when I've finally helped more people with this show, when I've entertained people, when I've helped people through rough times, when I have seen my family grow and become this amazing family that they have become, When I've seen my sister become everything she can be, and my dad being happy and my mom being happy, when I've seen you guys happy about the videos that I make, I can flip the bird so hard to the people who didn't want me to go that far. I don't really know how to end this now. I'm sorry if it dragged on and if it was a little... It's not, like I said, it's not a happy video. And I kind of fear that I'm going to ruin it when I'm going to say this, but at least think about sharing this with your friends. If someone you know is going through a rough time, I hope my little video here can help them through that. Because I'm just a guy like everyone else. I'm just a random dude from Denmark, a small little country no one has ever heard about. And I swear, if I can make it through this, so can you. And I'll be here vouching for you, rooting for you, cheering you on. And I think I actually know how to end it now. By saying something that I wish someone had told me. It's gonna be alright. Please live. Thank you.